Good morning. How was the party last night? I hope you had a great time. Yeah, I hope that everyone is already awake and started to have the coffee and like feeling excited to listening to the talks today. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to share you today about one of the biggest challenges that UX practitioners are facing these days. The challenge is something bigger beyond the screens. And in order to illustrate you better this challenge that I'm going to talk about, I would like to introduce you to these three people that I met in the real life. So the names and the pictures, they're not real, but the challenges are real. They were sharing the challenges with me. First, we have Anna. She is a UX designer. She just joined a company to start working as a UI UX designer, and then the challenge that she's facing is that people in her team didn't know what to expect from her role as a UX designer. So most of the time, people come to Anna and ask her, hey Anna, can you do UX for me? Or I have a pop-up here, can you please make this pop-up looks nice? And yeah, instead of giving her a problem statement, they're giving her a solution already, and yeah, she feels so upset about it. And then we have Matt. He's a front-end developer, and he feels that his work didn't add value as the user didn't use the feature that he built in the end. And most of the time, he spent his work fixing things later than having value-added work in the beginning. And then we have Liz. She's a product manager. She works for clients and different companies as a freelancer, and then she would like to introduce research in the product development, but her clients just don't want to invest in UX resources because they just feel they don't see the need. So any of you guys have experienced these challenges too? Would you please raise your hands? Okay, it's quite many. So the challenge that we're talking here is about culture, mindset, and how actually people are lacking awareness about UX. They don't know what exactly UX is about. People are having different mindsets about different perspectives about UX, and there's a lacking of the buy-in from the management when it comes to UX processes and UX resources. So these people, maybe you also feel that I don't want to stay in this situation. I want to change it. I want to break the status quo. So when we're talking about breaking the status quo, we're talking about a better future. And the better future that I'm talking about here is being user-centric. And user centricity would help to ensure great user experience, making data-driven decisions, and also help the teams to be more efficient and effective to achieve its purpose, and help the companies to save time, money, and resources to really focus on building a product that are tailored based on the user's needs. So going back to these three people again, they are facing these challenges, and it's like a daily battle at work, and it has transformed them to become the agents of change. And it's not just them. There are more and more people who are experiencing this, and you also may be one of them. And it kind of like remind me of 2 years ago about me when I was a UI UX designer at the company that I'm working right now. I felt that there was like no UX processes at all at the product development. And I was asking myself, how, as a UI UX designer, I can start UX process in the product lifecycle. This situation inspired me to speak about it. So ever since I was sharing these talks in different setups in my organization, also in these events like conference and meetups, to really share to people about my pain points, my challenges. And surprisingly, a lot of people also sharing the same challenges as well. And for this talk, I'm not going to talk about my journey only, or my effort, how to start a process, but it's also about the team's effort and also how Flixbus, the company that I'm working right now, try to enable this together in a product lifecycle. And when I'm saying about team's effort, it's about joint forces of how we can collaborate together and thrive with UX. So this talk is going to be about how we, as UX practitioners, can drive change and make impact in the organization. So if you are one of those people who want to change things in your organization, this is perfect talk for you, because I'm going to share with you what would be like the frameworks or the ways of how you can assess the challenges, and also, with this UX maturity that I will show you later, and also the strategies, how to tackle these challenges. And I'm going to share with you a study case from Flixbus. So now it's about me. My name is Luky Primadani. You can call me Luky. I am a researcher at Flixbus, and I've been working in the past as designer, ranging from creative agency to digital agency, focusing in marketplace, B2B software, and now mobility business. As a researcher, I'm very passionate in designing digital products that people would love. And as a researcher, I also support the product teams to bring in qualitative insights so they can be more confident in making product decisions. So, about Flixbus. Who are you here who don't know about Flixbus? Could you please raise your hand? OK. So Flixbus is a global mobility platform. We are originally from Germany, and we offer new ways of travel that are convenient, affordable, and also environmental friendly. So our business model is that we don't own the buses, we don't own the trains, we also don't own the bus drivers. So we partner with mobility partners, and we just have the platform where people can book a trip with us. So part of the buses, we also have trains, and we just operate the trains in Germany last year. So talking about Flixbus in figures, we have established in the market since 2013. Ever since, we have more than 100 million passengers traveling with us, with 2,000 destinations, with 350,000 daily connections, and in 29 countries all over the world. With employees, we are more than 1,200 people in 17 offices all over the world. So we are growing really, really fast. And the product teams, it's under FlixTech. In FlixTech, we are more or less 200 people co-located in offices in Munich, in Berlin, and in Ukraine, in Kharkiv. We adopt agile software development, of course, and we thrive for user centricity as our vision for product. This is our product development process. From the discovery, design, delivery to measure, we try to, of course, be iterative along the way, and it's like a never-ending process, right? And we try to integrate qualitative research, which was missing in the past. And OK, now I was talking about how user centricity, how we achieve to become user-centric, but it sounds like it's so easy, it's like that, but actually it was not so easy. We have been through a lot of challenges, and I would like you also to reflect on what kind of challenges that you're facing in your organization, and let's try to figure it out together through UX maturity stage. Yeah, so 2 years ago, as I told you, when I started as a UI UX designer, there was no UX process at all, there was no user centricity at all. Design decisions were solely based on gut feeling. So how to reach our goal? First of all, it has to come from a team that is pushing this initiative. I have heard so many UX practitioners that is doing only % of UX in the companies, which is pretty normal nowadays. In this case, you have to build allies. Find someone that shares the same mindset with you, or find someone who believes in you. And then you push things forward together. And this is also very, very important to try to define what type of organization that you're working for. Are they open to change? Are they open to let you do experiments? Are they open to for you to embrace failure? And then we can achieve user centricity. All right, this is the interesting part about the maturity stage of UX. It helps us to identify in which stage your UX maturity is at your organization, and it helps you to go step by step. You're not gonna be able to start from the first stage and then jump into the fourth stage. You have to do it like step by step. So please bear with me. I would like to go through these stages briefly. So first, starting with the inception, there's the absence of UX. There's no UX activities at all, no UX people. And the second stage, the awareness part. This is where Anna and me started. People think that UX is more as aesthetics, and people are still having low awareness of what UX is. And the third stage, adopting. UX is seen as a process. We have an established process of UX here. You have already proven use cases where UX can bring value. And then the maturing part, UX informs product strategy. In this stage, you would need to scale your resources and also your processes, because there are more and more requests coming. And last but not least, the fifth stage, UX is a part of global strategy. In this stage, the executive advocates for UX. I'm going to show you a study case from Flixbus of how we strive for the second to the third and the fourth, and we are at the moment in the fourth stage, trying to establish the process here. So let's start 2 years ago. This is one of the biggest challenges that we experience, that we are lacking of design resources. As you can see here on the chart, this illustration, that the teams, like the product UX people, are not part of the product team, so they're like seen more as an agency or like a service unit that you would just contact if you have a request. So there's like, it's really far from ideal, because it's really hard to build the trust. You need to be working collaboratively in order to build the trust, and also it's like having a lack of communication, and also lacking shared vocabularies. And you see this all the time. Hey, designer, can you please make this pop-up look nice? Or yeah, let's do it like this for now and fix it later. We don't have time to invest in research. Or if you have like several design solutions, let's just A/B test everything and to see which performs better. But relying only on A/B tests and forgetting about qualitative insights, and we will lacking the understanding of the why behind the what. So the ideal team setup that we'd like to achieve is fully cross-functional. We want to have UI/UX designer embedded to the team. Now let's talk about the strategy. How do we tackle those challenges? So we adopt the process from not being aware, like not going forward from not being aware to adopt a process. It took us 1.5 years. And we went through this process of creating awareness and trying to adopt design sprint, and also scaling the resources. I will get into that more detail later. So first is creating awareness. We conducted a lot of usability studies, and also a lot of sharing about UX. And again, it's not a revolution. It's a small step. You have to be really patient. It's a baby steps. So I'm going to show you how actually we try to, we have a dream. We want to have a user lab where we can invite people, we can talk to our customers to have at least a medium of how we can do that. And imagine we can help Matt, our front-end developer, to not do double work in the end, because testing the prototype first, we can get a better requirements at least, and to be more confident that this is something that the user would need. So how we as UI UX designer, we don't have any research background, we don't know how to do research, we are not equipped at all with this knowledge. So we started really small. We conducted our first unmoderated remote studies. We try not to talk to people at first because interviewing people requires some skills, right? So for those of you who were attending the workshop, research workshop yesterday, you would know how hard it is to ask questions. So we try to do it remotely. We have a link that we share to our employees so they can participate on the tests remotely. And it went really well. So we started to advance the facilitation and organization. We had just on-site, one-on-one user testing, still with our employees. And afterwards, we managed to invite our customers and to really, as you can see here, there's a live stream that we can invite our stakeholders if they're interested in watching the session as well. Another important thing is that to be sure that you invite all of your stakeholders in every step of the user testing. So start from preparation, phrasing the questions together, and then the session itself. And then here, as you can see, this is where we gather the findings together and put them on the wall and trying to cluster these findings based on the severity level. And we try to prioritize these findings together to discuss the next steps. And afterwards, sharing about UX. Of course, the findings, you don't keep the findings yourself, right? You have to share it to the whole organization. And people need to see it in a very digestible way, I would say. It has to be clear, very brief. And we try to create a template where we focus on the highlight and then the screenshot and the quotes from the user. So we try to be sure that it has to be really short, brief, clear, and it has a good storytelling. Ever since, it was crazy. The demand of research has skyrocketed. So we're not only receiving requests from digital products, but also offline products like travel experience, marketing, and branding. Everyone now sees the value. Okay, so we have now the process of user lab. We have the user testing. We do this kind of things, but how then to bring it to the team? So we try to introduce design sprint. So I know that 2 days ago there was the talk about it. But again, design sprint is 4 or 5 days activities where people from different areas of expertise sit together talking about a problem and trying to define a solution. And as an output is a prototype that is tested with the users. So this is how we did it. And yeah, the reason why we did design sprint is actually because of this. There's a missing collaboration, and we want to show to the team how does it feel to have UI UX designer working together with you? How does it feel to have a researcher working together with you? How does it look like? So ever since the kickoff, everyone loves it. It's like the outcome is amazing. We did 4 design sprints in 6 months, not only 4 prototypes tested with users, but also developed. Now, the scaling part. We have more and more designers and researchers, and how the setup of the designer is like this, but what about the researcher? So the researchers are like a centralized unit that is working closely with designers and product owners. We're kind of like the left hand and the right hand. So Of course, having the ideal world that we want to achieve is that to have researcher embedded to the team, but I think it's still like a long way to go. This way is ideal for us right now. Okay, now let's talk about our current situation, from adopting to maturing. We as a team of researchers, we have like a big project. We want to democratize UX. We want to enable people in our organization, not only us to do research, not only us to do UX, but we want to enable others to do so. So how did we do it? We enable others to conduct their own research. We train product owners and designers to do their own research. And we create a platform where people can access research findings easily. And we bring also user centricity into the business. This is how we do it. At this workshop, we encourage the product owners to get out of the building, to go to the bus station and meet the customers and ask questions. And also in the lower part, as you can see here, it's like a tool that we're using we can conduct remote studies, so we can do user testing as early and often. And we try to train designers and product owners to run the studies themselves. And we are also creating this platform, UX platform, where everyone can find the past research findings easily, so they don't always have to depend on us. Hey, what about these findings in 2015? Like, do you still have it? They can find it from here. And how to synthesize all of these findings together, and how to make sense of the A/B tests and qualitative research, how to make sense of everything. This is the purpose of the platform. And the last but not least, we try to bring user centricity framework into a workshop with business, because we want to become more strategic, so we want to inform the product strategy. And this way, we try to pull in some framework from design sprints and to conduct a smaller workshop, like a few hours of workshop instead of days, and try to, train the business with user centricity. All right, so that's all, and now it's time to recap. So are you ready to thrive with UX? And to wrap up, so for Anna, she learned that in order to move from the stage to another, she needs to assess first her organizational culture towards change. She needs to know if the company is really willing to adopt this change or not. And then always challenging the status quo and track the UX maturity in order to know in which stage you are and how to go to the next steps. And for Matt, he needs to team up and collaborate more with the designers so we can build allies, spread the word even wider to the communities. And for Liz, she needs to show more the value before not pushing it so hard. So she needs to do more activities that shows the value, and the value should be self-proved. And for the management, allow the team to make mistakes, provide freedom, trust them to do experiments, and place value on customer behavior as a measure of progress and not the number of features shipped. So what I have learned in the past 2 years about user centricity is not just about user, it's also about people. It's not just about people that we are designing for, but also people that we're building the product together with. Because it takes things centered around people to deliver products and services that people would love. And if you want to drive the change together, you have to do it together with people. Because if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Thank you.
Okay, so we've got a couple questions already, and don't forget that you can go and add questions to the link right there, and upvote the ones that you think are something that you want to hear. So to get us started, a couple people are asking about tools. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the tools you use, both for gathering, sharing, and archiving your findings.
First is what, sorry?
Tools.
So the tool, we use Look Back. For the first unmoderated remote studies that I did, we use Look Back to record the interaction of the participants on the screen. And then for remote testing tool, we use user Zoom. So this tool, you can run the studies, like mixed methods of different studies remotely. And for sharing, we use Slack. So we have, for the reporting, we use the Google Slides, and then we share the findings in Slack or Confluence. Yeah, that's all.
And how do you, a lot of the time people will then say, oh, we did some user research on this, and it's hard to find it. Do you have any tips for making that organized and easy to access? Yes.
So at the moment, we are in development of this platform that I mentioned, but it's still far from final. But we try to create this Confluence page where you can where there's we structure it in a way that it has some tags, it has the highlight, and we put based on the timeline and also the domains. So we structure it in a way that people can look for the domain and then the name of the study and then the timeline, and then they can look for the text as well.
Great. A question on a different topic. So if a UI or UX designer is having trouble affecting the outcomes of their work, how would you recommend them going about engaging someone who's making the decisions, either a product manager, engineering manager, something like that, to influence them?
So if they have problems influencing the decision, I think it should be a matter of alignment and communication. For example, if the designer has this problem convincing, they can check the data. Of course, they can ask the product analyst to gather some numbers from A/B tests or from market research, and from us for the qualitative research, and just bring the data to the product team. I think the data is very, very powerful to show, not just only talk about this because I research, I like it, or because of the trend. It's because of the data itself. Yeah.
And similar question from a developer's point of view. If a person doesn't know that the UI or UX is any good, how can they cooperate with their design colleagues to better understand their product?
Oh, yeah. So can you, sorry?
From a developer's point of view, how can they also engage in this process?
Oh, okay. So I think what we did at Flixbus is we tried to invite developers as well in the process. So we asked them to go to the bus station and to meet our customers, and then also to join the session of the user test so they can take notes and they can listen. So in the way they're involved, and at least to show your interest that from the users' insights, how can it be improved, and to participate in the whole process. I think it's a good way. Yeah.
A similar theme on stakeholders. So how do you convince someone that this is worthwhile to do before you've gotten the time to do it? So where do you start? Do you get the management to buy in, or which way did you do it?
So the way we started is that, as I said, we did a lot of usability tests, and we showed people, and it's self-proved. People see, actually, how people struggle using the product. It's a very eye-opening to them, and it's a really good start. And at first, we kind of get in the buy-in from the management after showing all of these initiatives. But still, I think it should be more at team level, and sometimes you need to, let's say you have a new department that you need to show the value. You still need to do some presentation or some promotion about what your team is doing, and bringing some use cases in the past of how you can make impact, how you can save time, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And if you've met people inside the company who are not so open-minded, what have you done to convince them that this is worth it?
Well, there are a few people, but
You don't have to name names.
but I think that these people just don't see it yet. They just don't know how it works. So by showing them and showing that we have worked with these teams and this is how we did it, just bringing some study case, I think it's not so hard to convince them.
So go out and do some guerrilla style testing just to build momentum? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. On a different topic, when you're not running design sprints, does the team setup go back to where the UXers are more outside of the team? Is that what you'd recommend? Or how would you structure your relationship with UX during different phases of a project, maybe, is a better way to say it?
You mean...
Like, are they embedded on the team? Do they have a separate team that you go and engage with? Does that make sense?
Not really.
So, like, when you have your agile team, is there a UXer who's on that team, or is there a team of UXers that then individual teams go and consult with, basically?
So now we have more designers that embedded to the team, and we have the researchers like the centralized unit that you can consult with, basically.
So like a bit of both. Is that
right?
A
bit of both.
Let's see. What type of measurements of customer behavior did people respond to? You know, you said when you show them how they use the product, maybe you can tell a story about that to convince people of the value of user research.
You mean like how to share the findings?
Yeah.
So we try to, whenever we are done with a study, we try to conduct a meeting with the stakeholders and try to share it in a storytelling way and really focus on the highlights of how people really struggle. And yeah, that's how we did it, like have a meeting and communication with them and share the report, yeah.
And last one is when you have found that there are goals and needs for your users that aren't directly aligned with your business, how have you navigated that?
Interesting. That is not aligned with the business. So so there's a top-down thing that is like actually the users are not like giving the same. Well, we don't have any of this case, to be honest. So I think that we need to. Can you repeat? Sorry, the question again.
Just when you surface user need through these research that don't align with your business goals, how do you sort of navigate that?
Well, it's a really hard question. We don't have that case for now, but so far we try to find a compromise. Let's say if the users are not like needing this feature, I think there's always a compromise that we can do. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.